Hello everyone, and welcome back to yet another market outlook presented by SwissBorg. My name is Pietro, and this week we'll be taking a look at activity in the markets and how it might be irrational at the moment, how markets are moving. We'll then be taking a look at differences between active and passive investing and how SwissBorg is offering a perfect middle ground at the moment. And finally, we'll be giving a spotlight to one of the more interesting blockchains at the moment, namely Algorand. So to start off this week, we'll be taking a look at stock and crypto markets overall in general, and discussing whether markets are irrational at the moment. So why am I saying this? It's because since the start of 2022, it's been clear that an influx of negative news have caused the stock markets to drop and crypto markets to drop, with upcoming fears of a potential recession following the Russian war, following gas prices that are extremely high, in global inflation levels that are also extremely high. And now, in addition to that, as of a couple of days ago, some of the largest earnings reports of some of the largest companies in the S&P 500 came out. Alphabet, so Google, Microsoft, and Meta, which is Facebook, all had very, very disappointing Q3 earnings, which really shows this aspect of global economies that are shrinking, or just business consumer activity that has stagnated a lot since the start of 2022. Now, in line with this, stock markets have been tentatively trying to find a bottom, but are still, as of now, dropping, especially yesterday due to the news of these Q3 earnings reports. But why we say markets are irrational this week, it's because crypto is actually on the rise. If we look at the 7-day performance, and there I picked up on the top 10 in terms of market cap, so disregarding, of course, the stable coins, all of the other tokens have been climbing, at least tentatively climbing, in the short term. So if you look at their 7-day performance on the column on the right, you'll see that all of the tokens have been performing pretty well and seem to almost have found a bottom. Now, this is not really in line with stock markets that are still, as of now, dropping or reacted much more negatively to this upcoming news of the earnings reports. But crypto is actually showing resilience. It's showing some kind of differentiation factor compared to stock markets. This could of course just be an extremely short-term aspect of markets and of the differences between currently the stock and crypto markets, but it gives a little idea of how markets can be irrational. No one knows what is really priced in. No one really knows how markets will move, whether prices will go up and down in a certain given period. But overall, in this environment at the moment, it seemed pretty self-explanatory, or at least logical, that crypto prices would still not try and pick up, at least in the next few months, due to, like I said, the uncertainty overall, but also these negative earnings reports, which shine a light on the global economy, or at least in the largest economy in the world, which is the United States. And that in turn affects the rest, of course. Will be very interesting to see if this irrationality stays, as well as what crypto prices will do in the coming week. Next week, I will gladly present a difference between stock market movements and crypto market movements to see if there are still clear differences, or to see if maybe this week was just an anomaly in the market. In a bear market situation where markets also seem to be irrational, so it's unclear based on what events or what news markets are moving up or down, and it's also unclear what exactly is already priced in, whether markets have priced in a potential recession in 2023 and other similar effects. It's always interesting to look at potential investment strategies. Now, during bear markets, of course, a lot of people might be scared and afraid to make certain moves, but it's almost essential to stay in the investment game, at least partially, to take advantage of potential future upturns and potential future new bull runs, right? It's almost impossible to time when these things will happen, but there are certain strategies that might help. So this week, I wanted to discuss the difference between passive and active investing, also relating that then to SwissBorg's product. So Knowing the differences between active and passive investing is essential, and it's essential to know the pros and cons of both. So looking at active investing, of course, active investing would give you a lot of opportunity to take advantage of latest opportunities in the market. So a person that might actively invest or actively trade on a weekly or maybe even daily basis can take a lot more advantage of certain opportunities. So if, for example, Ethereum is being extremely volatile, an active investor could take advantage of buying and selling at certain key moments, or, for example, looking at the rest of the market and taking advantage of certain tokens that might be doing better than others, and certain tokens that maybe are outperforming. So it gives a lot of flexibility, and it really allows investors to take advantage of short-term opportunities. On the other hand, passive investing allows you to invest without fear and without really concern for your investment strategy. What I mean with that is relating it back to investing, for example, in ETFs, so in the S&P 500. If I invest $100 in the S&P 500, I leave it there as a passive investment, and I do not touch it. I don't really look at any market news, and I just allow it to grow over time. That is a very effective long-term strategy. It also relieves me of all the stress, and it shows that I have conviction on one certain asset class that I know will do well in the future. And with that conviction, that is all I need to know. All I need to know is that long-term, I believe that this will do extremely well, or that there is clear upside potential long-term. Therefore, I'm maybe not as concerned with short-term movements or even short-term news. Now, of course, passive investing doesn't allow you to take as much advantage of short-term opportunities, but active investing, it might also become excessive because you would run in a cycle of trying to do too much, which I've personally also run into, trying to buy and sell too often, and unclear exactly of what to go into. And you might end up losing more money than through passive investing. Therefore, due to the differences and the pros and cons of both, there is actually a best of both worlds scenario. And that is the thematics that SwissBorg is currently offering. So SwissBorg is currently offering a Web3 thematic on the SwissBorg app. And what the Web3 thematic allows you to do is virtually a crypto ETF. A crypto ETF where you actually own the underlying asset. So you own the tokens that you're buying. Whereas the ETF, maybe you're just buying the index, for example, right? So what that allows you to do is it allows you to have a very diversified portfolio of Web3 related tokens, therefore really hitting a large part of the market cap in crypto, but not being solely focused on, for example, Ethereum or Bitcoin, having more exposure to more tokens. So it's an excellent form of passive investing where you believe in the long-term success of the Web3 space and the crypto space, and you decide to put X amount of money for the long-term success of your product, so of this thematic. Where the active investing element also comes in is the rebalancing element. So there are a team of experts within SwissBorg that will then rebalance your thematic according to what the best opportunities are, according to what the best tokens should be, and rebalancing meaning that if maybe at one given date you have 20 tokens of, let's say, Ethereum, right? So you have 20 ETH in your thematic. The team might evaluate that, okay, now it's time to maybe hold more ETH, so Ether in the thematic, and therefore rebalance in that way. So passively, it allows you to invest in a bundle of tokens in the Web3 space that have long-term potential and for which your conviction matters because your conviction in the Web3 space would be clear, right? You believe in the long-term success of the Web3 space. And at the same time, it allows you to take advantage of active investment strategies through rebalancing. And it's actually even better than having to actively investing yourself, because you're relying on a team of experts to constantly rebalance this bundle to really optimize performance and to optimize the strategy for this thematic. It's really revolutionary in the crypto space. and more thematics will slowly start to roll out. But at the moment, I highly suggest you try out the Web3 thematic because it's a perfect middle ground between active and passive investing for the long-term future of the Web3 space. Finally, to close off this week's market outlook, we'll be giving a blockchain spotlight to Algorand. Algorand is one of the more interesting and maybe lesser known blockchains in the space, which is gaining a lot of traction and is gaining a lot of interest. Now, it's still completely unknown, I would say, outside of the crypto space, but within the crypto and blockchain space, it's becoming extremely relevant. And all of this might change at the end of 2022. So actually in a month's time, because the FIFA World Cup is starting in Qatar, and Algorand is one of the main sponsors of this year's World Cup edition. Along with that, so already this is excellent exposure for Algorand, and it will definitely increase the interest from non-crypto related people, but overall increase the exposure of their name. Not only this, but Algorand has actually been seen to be outperforming the DeFi space. So I picked up their table of the top 15 blockchains by total value locked in the DeFi space. So according to how much money is locked in each blockchain on various protocols on that blockchain. So if we look at the figures for Algorand, actually, in the last 7 days, it's grown by 20%, whereas the majority of the other blockchains have either dropped or grown somewhere around 2 to 5%. So Algorand is not only an extremely attractive blockchain with a very clear use case and a very clear branding. Not only are they also increasing their exposure and clearly showing that they're making strides to become one of the main blockchains in the space, but especially in one of the areas that is most significant to blockchain and crypto, which is the DeFi space, it's becoming one of the big names in there, pretty much. So at the moment, it's positioned as 15th in terms of blockchains as total value locked. But if you actually look at the TVL figures, it wouldn't take that much more for Algorand to reach the top 10. Therefore, we'll definitely be following Algorand in the following months, especially as it relates to their sponsorship of the FIFA World Cup. But very, very interesting to see how much traction Algorand is gaining as of late. That was all from me for this week. Thank you very much for listening. I hope it's been informative, and I'll see you all next week. Take care.